Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the greatest recordings ever. And today we're talking again about Bach's B minor Mass. You know, when you've got a piece like this that nobody conducts unless they're taking it really, really seriously, and they're very well prepared and fully intend to do their best. And it's been recorded, consequently, so many times by unbelievably talented people. There are going to be a pile of recordings that rank with the greatest recordings ever. And I think that's wonderful. I think it's a great thing. You know, I actually need to make a point here because I get a lot of comments by someone who says, well, I think this one is the greatest recording ever, and I think that one is the greatest recording ever. That's not the title of this series of videos. The title of this series of videos is The Greatest Recordings Ever, plural. That is more than one. I'm not out to pick the one and only. I'm out to show you that all great works of music that have received multiple recordings, or most of them in any case, have several versions that could easily rank with the greatest recordings ever because there's just a lot of talent out there, number one. And number two, it's a point that I never tire of making, which is that the classics are not fragile. I mean, most of them, you have to work to screw them up. If they're classics, it's because they've lasted for hundreds of years. They're durable. They're hardy. They're like weeds. That's not to say that every performance is going to be fabulous, of course. But chances are, if everyone does what they're supposed to do with today's standards, you're going to get something very, very good. And occasionally, you get something that's outstanding. And when you're dealing with a piece as deep and serious and universally admired as the B minor Mass, you're going to get quite a few that are outstanding. So this one is one of my personal favorites, and it should be yours too. Eugen Jochum with Bavarian radio forces on EMI, now Warner. It's last found in this large Jochum icon box thing. Now, Jochum, as we all know, was a masterful Bach conductor. Most of his Bach recordings were made for Philips with the Concertgebouw, and he did the two Passions, the St. Matthew Passion, the St. John Passion. He did the B minor Mass. He did the Christmas Oratorio. They are superb performances all. In fact, they're so good, that it's kind of difficult. It's invidious. That's a good word, isn't it? It's invidious to make comparisons because his conducting is just heartfelt and soulful. And he was a Bruckner guy. He was great at music that was very spiritual and transcendental and all those things. And Bach's music is certainly that. And so they're brilliant. But toward the end of his life, he made this digital recording of the B minor Mass in Bavaria. And we have a wonderful selection of soloists. Where are they? Here we go. Helen Donat, of course. Birgitta Fassbender, Claes Ansjo, Roland Herman, and Robert Hall. So they're all really, really, really good. But most importantly of all, you have the Bavarian Radio Chorus, which is one of the great choral ensembles in the universe, and they sing their hearts out for Jochum. Remember, Jochum's career on disc basically started with the Bavarian Radio Symphony Orchestra. That was his hometown team. He made marvelous recordings with them, and for Deutsche Grammophon primarily. And so he was returning to his home base, and it was just one of those occasions where everything went well. There are so many magnificent moments here, right from the opening Kyrie, which is perfectly paced. This is not a slow performance. It's 2 hours, almost exactly 2 hours. It's not heavy. It uses large choral forces. These are larger than the period instrument people typically use. But I mean, it fits the scope of the work. You want to hear that sanctus, just it's the beating of angels' wings, right? That's how it's been described. That's how it sounds here. I mean, the credo from the crucifixus all the way to the end with an unbelievable et resurrexit in conclusion is thrilling. It's just thrilling. I mean, it just lifts you out of your seat. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you want to experience when you hear a work like this that justifies doing yet another recording of it. And nowadays, when we have so many period instrument performances, many of which are absolutely excellent. I mean, I like a lot of them, don't get me wrong, but there is a certain similarity to what they sound like. When Jochum made this recording, the B minor Mass was still, relatively speaking, a rarity. It was a rarity, especially for major orchestras, big orchestras, even in the days before the period instrument people took it on, because it was huge. It's long, it's big. Some people may have regarded it as grim and slightly dull. I don't know. But it was a rarity, and performances of it were special. Nowadays, they're kind of like a dime a dozen-y, and they sort of have a family similarity. Small orchestra, small forces, really razor-sharp choral singing, nice trumpets and drums. We know the story. So this is a recording which it has that feeling of something special, of an event. And that really it's an impossible quality to really describe, an impossible quality to define in quantitative terms, but you sure hear it as you're listening to the performance. And that's what makes this one of the greatest recordings ever. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.